Welcome. In this video, we will be covering the basics of how to use Zotero. My name is Catherine. I'm the Reference and Instruction Librarian for the Libby Library, and I'll be walking you through the essentials of getting started with Zotero. In this video, we will discuss how to get yourself a copy of Zotero, followed by a demonstration on how to use it, including how to add references into your library, how to find and attach PDF files, how to sync and share your library, and then lastly, using the Cite While You Write tool. Before we get started, though, it's important to first discuss what exactly is Zotero. Zotero is a free and open source reference management tool that allows you to store, organize, and manage references all in one place. With Zotero, you can create and format bibliographies in a variety of different citation styles, for example, APA, MLA, or AMA. You can manage references, including adding, editing, and removing references from your library. You can sync your library with your Zotero web account and share your library with colleagues. And you can use the Cite While You Write tool in Microsoft Word and Google Doc, which allows you to insert in-text citations and build your bibliography as you are writing your manuscript. Now, on the Libby Library website, we do have a guide that is all about Zotero. In this guide, you will find instructions for how to do the basics, including a copy of this recording in the Tutorials tab. And with that, we can go ahead and get started. The first place that we're going to start is on the Zotero guide for installation and configuration instructions. To locate the Zotero guide, simply navigate to libguides.mssm.edu/Zotero. There is a difference in how to get yourself a copy of Zotero if you're using a Mount Sinai Windows workstation compared to if you're using your own personal device. If you would like to get a copy of Zotero on your Mount Sinai Windows workstation, these are the computers that are on site on Mount Sinai, you will need to place a SailPoint request. You can find instructions for how to do this, including screenshots, on our Zotero guide. But just to give you a very brief explanation of how it works, you will go ahead and place that SailPoint request. You are then going to wait for that request to be approved. After it's been approved, you're going to wait 24 hours. And after 24 hours, you should see Zotero on your desktop launcher. Once you see Zotero, you want to go ahead and go into your Microsoft Word just to double check that you have the Zotero tab there. If you don't see it, you might want to do one of two things: either restart it until you see it, or if you see a banner indicating that you need to enable macros, you just want to go ahead and enable that. Again, all of these instructions are here on the Zotero guide, so you can always refer back to this. Now, if you're using a personal device, like a personal laptop, for example, all you would need to do, if you would like Zotero, is to go into zotero.org and click download. From here, you're going to do two things. You're going to download the desktop application here on the left-hand side, followed by the Zotero Connector. Now, the Zotero Connector is really important. This is a browser extension, and this is what's going to allow you to seamlessly import references into your library. Once you've downloaded the connector, I recommend just coming into your extensions here and pinning it just so that you're easily able to access it. Once you've done that, I recommend also creating a Zotero web account. Zotero Web is the online counterpart to the desktop application and adds another way to access your library. While a Zotero web account is not mandatory, if you're interested in syncing and sharing your library, a Zotero web account will be needed. To create a Zotero web account, simply go to the login button here on the upper right side of the page. And instead of logging in, you're going to go ahead and register for a free account. Your account can be whatever you'd like it to be. It can be your Mount Sinai email, it could be your Yahoo, your Gmail, or any other email that you have. It doesn't have to be your Mount Sinai email. So your credentials, your Zotero web account information can be whatever you'd like it to be. Now I'm going to log into mine just to show you what it looks like. If I go into Web Library here at the top, this is what my Zotero web looks like. When we go into the desktop version, you will notice that the layout is exactly the same. So whether you're using Zotero Web or the desktop version, you shouldn't have any problems with being able to use it or trying to navigate through different layouts because they're exactly the same. For the purposes of this video, we will not be focusing on the web version. We will be focusing on the desktop application. So here is my Zotero library. This is the desktop application. And before we get started into just how to do the basics in Zotero, I first want to give a brief introduction to the layout. I like to think of Zotero as like a filing cabinet. So the desktop application itself is the filing cabinet. The collections you see here on the left-hand side, you can think of these as folders in the filing cabinet. And then finally, the references here in the center, you can think of as documents within those folders. And then here on the right-hand side, you will see all of the citation information. Now, best practice is to create different collections for the different things that you're working on. So for example, if you have a manuscript, that will be one collection. If you're working on a presentation, that will be a separate collection. It's a nice way to keep yourself organized, and you don't have to worry about trying to find the right reference for what you need. To create a collection, I'm going to go ahead and right-click on my library here on the left and select New Collection. I'm going to pretend like I'm working on a project related to childhood asthma, so that's what I'm going to name this collection, and I'm going to go ahead and create it. Now that I've created my collection, I need to actually start adding references in. One of the ways that you can add references in is by identifier using Zotero's Magic Wand feature. Zotero Magic Wand is a feature that allows you to add items by identifier. So for example, a PMID or a DOI. In order to add references by identifier, you want to navigate to the wand icon here at the top. You're going to copy and paste the identifier, whether that's a PMID, a DOI, or an ISBN number, or any other kind of identifier. Here I have an ISBN number that I want to add. So I'm going to go ahead and search for that. And here I have that reference along with all of the citation information here. Something to note though is you want to make sure that you're on the appropriate collection first before using the magic wand, just to make sure that your reference is going into the right place. So now here I have one reference in my library, but I know that most of you guys will most likely be adding references while you are on your browser. So here I'm on PubMed, and I've already pre-selected an article here. If I wanted to add this reference into my library, this is where the Zotero connector is going to come in handy, because all I need to do is navigate over to my Zotero connector. I'm going to give it a couple of moments for it to go ahead and add the information to my library, but you just want to make sure that it is saving to the appropriate collection first while it's doing its thing. Here I see that it was able to save that reference into my library successfully. So I have the reference, all of the citation information. It looks like unfortunately a PDF was not attached, which is okay because we will be talking about how to locate and attach PDFs in a moment. Now, what if I want multiple references from a results page in a database? So here, if I go back for a moment, I'm in the results page in PubMed. And let's say, for example, I want these next 4 references that are here. So I'm going to go ahead and select those 4. And I'm going to return back to my Zotero connector, which now looks a little bit different. So initially it looked like a paper icon. Now it looks like a folder icon. So something to note here is that the Zotero icon will change according to where it's on. So if you're on a results page, it will look like a folder. And if you're on a single reference, it will look like a paper icon. Either way, the function is still the same. So if I click on the Zotero connector, here it's showing me those 4 references. And again, it's showing me here everything that it is saving. So it looks like out of the 4 references here, 2 of them have PDFs attached to them. So that means that if I go into my Zotero library, 2 out of the 4 references here that I'm adding or sending over is already going to have the PDFs attached to it, which is really nice. Now, in addition to being able to use Zotero Connector on a database, you can also use it in a journal website. So here I'm in JAMA, and similar like when we were in PubMed, I've already pre-selected an article here. If I want to add this reference into my library, I'm just going to do the same thing. Navigate over to my Zotero Connector, give it a couple of moments to just sort of send itself over into my Zotero library. And it looks like here it saved a snapshot, which we will talk about in a moment what that is. And it looks like it wasn't able to grab the PDF, unfortunately, which is okay. Now I'm not done. I also want to add a web page into my library. So one of the really nice things about Zotero is that you're not limited to just a journal site or a database. You can also use it on just a standard website. So here I'm in Medline Plus on an asthma in children entry. And same thing, I'm just going to navigate over to my Zotero connector. And here it's sent over the reference information, the citation information, but also a snapshot. Now, a snapshot is a copy of this website. So that means that if I wanted to access this website again, it's going to take me to a copy of this website that it was able to create. You can still find the link in the entry. However, if you wanted to just access the website directly, it'll just send you over to the copied version that Zotero created. So now that we've added some references into my library, I'm just going to go back just to sort of make sure that it's all there. So it looks like all of the references pulled over well, which is nice. However, you might encounter situations in which you're not able to get the reference into your library for whatever reason. Maybe the Zotero connector is acting funny, or maybe it's a particular reference that maybe had a little bit of difficult time just getting added into your library. So in that situation, what you want to do is add things manually. Now, I like to call this the last resort because most likely you won't need to do this. However, if in the event that you have to, in order to add references manually, you will want to navigate over to the new item icon here at the top. From here, you're going to select the reference type, whether that's an encyclopedia, a film, or a journal article. And then from here, you're going to fill out the fields. Now, you don't have to fill out all of the information. You just want to fill out the most essential, like the author, the title, the publisher, etc. For the purposes of this video, we will not be manually adding anything here, but I still wanted to show you what that looks like and where you would go. So now that we've added some references in, it's always a good idea just to double check the citation information each time that you add a reference in, just to make sure that the information was saved correctly. So you just want to double check if there are any misspellings or some kind of like wrong capitalization. If you do notice that there's something off with the citation, you can always edit the fields here on the right-hand side. So we've done a couple of things so far. We've created a collection, we've added our references here. And if you noticed earlier, some of the PDFs have already been attached as well as some of the snapshots. And I know that those have been attached because I can see a PDF icon to the right of that reference or a little web page icon to indicate here that a snapshot was saved. Now, even though some of the PDFs here were saved, I still have some references here that don't have PDFs attached to them. In this case, I can do one of two things. The first is using what's called the Find Full Text feature. This is a feature that allows Zotero to automatically locate and attach any openly available PDFs. In order to do this, I'm going to go ahead and select the remaining references here that don't have a PDF attached to them. And I'm going to right-click and select Find Full Text. From here, you're going to see a pop-up appear, and it's going to let you know if it was able to locate any full text PDFs. If it was able to locate, it will automatically attach it and let you know. And if it's not able to find the PDF, it will also let you know. So here it looks like it was able to locate one PDF, and unfortunately for the other ones, it looks like we couldn't get the PDFs, which is fine. So what exactly we do with these remaining ones? So for the references where we couldn't use the find full text feature, it just wasn't able to find the PDF, this does require for you to add it manually. This requires you to locate the PDF, download it, and then finally attach it here to the associated reference. Ideally, you would want to do this through the Libby Library catalog, just because you'll be able to easily access those resources directly from our website. So what you would want to do is navigate over to our catalog. You can search in our catalog either by the title or the DOI or the PMID, so basically by identifier. You'll locate that article. You're then going to download the PDF through one of our access points. To save us a little bit of time though, I already have a PDF saved. So once you have saved your PDF, all you need to do is come back into your Zotero library, select the reference that you're trying to add the PDF to, and you're going to right-click on that reference and select Add Attachment and File. From here, you're going to locate the PDF. So here I have mine saved. And then once it's attached, you're pretty much good to go. So if I wanted to, for example, read one of these PDFs, so let's select this first one, for example, the PDF is going to open as a separate tab within Zotero. And from there, I can go ahead and start reading it. I can start adding some highlights to it. I can also add some comments here. So I'm just adding a comment. And the good thing is that this information will be saved. So if I exit this PDF and I go back into it, here you will see the highlight that I just added as well as the notes. So you don't have to worry about having to go through an extra step to save all of this. All right, so I've attached my PDFs. And now I've decided that I want to sync my library. I realized, oh, I forgot that I wanted to sync my library. What exactly does that mean? Syncing means that you're creating a connection between your Zotero desktop application and the web version. The benefits of syncing your library includes being able to access your library across multiple devices, as well as anywhere with an internet connection. And it also serves as a backup in case you lose your library or maybe your computer is acting a little funny. In order to sync your library, you will need to go into your Zotero settings or Zotero preferences. You'll go into sync. And instead of seeing a login information like you see here on Minds, you will see instead a login prompt. So you just want to go ahead and log in and just give it a couple of moments for everything to sync between your desktop and the web. Now that I've synced my account, I realized that it turns out that my childhood asthma collection here, this project that I'm working on, is actually a group project, and I need to share it. So what exactly do I do? In order to share a library in Zotero, it's actually quite interesting because in Zotero, you cannot share a collection. So unfortunately, I can't share this childhood asthma collection here. If I wanted to share in Zotero, I need to create what's called a group with the intent to share. In order to create groups or be able to share your library, you do have to have your Zotero web account because you are going to need Zotero web in order to be able to not only create the group, but also to be able to invite people into that group as well. In order to create groups, we're going to navigate back into our Zotero web and go into the Groups tab here at the top. From here, I'm going to create a new group. I'm just going to give it the same childhood asthma name. You can select a group type. I'm just going to keep it public for now and create the group. And then from here, in order to be able to invite people in, I'm going to go into member settings, select send more invitations here at the bottom. And then I'll go ahead and add the emails of the people that I'm trying to share my library with. Something to note here is that not only do you need your Zotero web account in order to share a library, but the people that you're inviting into your library also needs to have their Zotero web account. So it's okay if they don't have the desktop version, as long as they have Zotero web, they should be okay with being able to access whatever you shared with them. Once you've created the group and you've already invited people in, you're pretty much done with the web version. From here, you can go back into your desktop application and you can continue adding things into the group from here. So if you add references into your group, other people will be able to see it and vice versa. Now, something that people do ask me quite often is if it's possible to be able to copy references that you already have in a collection into a group. And the answer is yes. In order to do that, you just want to select whatever references you want to add over, and you can drag that over into your group. The only downside to this, though, is that unfortunately, any PDFs or snapshots that were added is going to be lost in the process. So that's just one downside to do that. So if you already know that you're going to be working on a group and you need to share your library, it's a good idea to already create that group in advance and then start adding things in. Now, what if I need to start writing my manuscript? So, I have my references, I have my collection, I've added all of my PDFs, I've done what I've needed to do, and now I just need to actually start writing my paper. So, the good thing about Zotero is that it has what's called the Cite While You Write tool, which I mentioned earlier. And like I said, this is a feature that allows you to add in-text citations and to build your bibliography as you are writing your manuscript. So here I've pulled up Microsoft Word and I've already written a random sentence here. And if I wanted to add an in-text citation, I just want to make sure that first I'm in my Zotero tab. And then from here, go into the Add Edit Citation button. From here, you're going to see a search bar appear, and you can search for references either by title or by the author. So here I'm just going to select one of these random articles that I've saved and enter. And then here I have my reference, which it looks to be an APA 7th. Now, what happens if I want to create a bibliography? If I'm already at that point of developing a bibliography, all I need to do is make sure that I'm at the bottom of my manuscript and select Add Edit Bibliography. If I give it a couple of seconds, here is that reference there in which looks to me as APA 7th. Now, if you need to change the citation style, you can always go into Document Preferences and select whatever citation style you need it to be in. So here it's already defaulted to APA 7th, but if let's say I needed this to be in AMA 11th edition, I can go ahead and do that. And those changes will be automatically made for me. Similarly, you can also use the Cite While You Write tool in Google Doc. So if I navigate away from Microsoft Word and from my library for a moment and go into Google Doc, also in Google Doc, you should be able to see your Zotero tab. And while it looks a little bit different, everything is still the same. So similarly, I have a random sentence written here. And if I wanted to add an in-text citation, I'll go into Zotero. Again, select the Add Edit Citation button. I'm going to give it a couple of moments for the search bar to appear. And then same thing, I can search by author or by the title. And then here I have my in-text citation. Once again, if I want to build my bibliography, I will just go back into Zotero, select the Add Edit Bibliography button, give it a couple of moments, and then here I have my bibliography. Now again, if I need to change the citation style, I can always go into Document Preferences and I can decide that I want to change the style. Zotero has several different citation styles, so you don't have to pick any of the ones that are defaulted. You can pick any other ones that you need. So now that we've gone over the basics of how to use Zotero, I do want to quickly mention two big tips. One, you should always be syncing your library. Zotero will try to sync on its own automatically, but it's always a good idea to sync your library just to make sure that everything is the same between your desktop application and the web version. Second tip is to check for updates. In order to check for updates, you can go into the Help tab and select Check for Updates. If you notice that Zotero is acting a little weird, you just want to check to see if there are any updates because that could fix the issue. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or need assistance with using Zotero, you can email us at refdesk@mssm.edu.